After going 11-3 against the spread last week, will favorites own the day again? Do the New York Giants cover the point spread on free medium soda day? And will Tyler Fulghum make us something to eat? All coming up on this installment of Bet. Alongside the aforementioned Tyler Fulghum, I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Thanks for checking us out. What's up, buddy? How you doing at home? You wearing pants, I hope?
Well, luckily we're not going to pan down, so we'll leave that up to your imagination. I did just make a little breakfast here this morning between Daily Wager and Bet, so I'm ready to go. Sorry I can't share my fares with you digitally.
I am starving, so good for you. I will have to solve my problems later, wash them down with some mimosas. A lot to get to today. Check us out on YouTube. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. We're rolling out a lot of shorts on the NBA, college bowl season, and everything in between. Let's begin today's show as we do each and every Sunday. Market movers, some of the biggest lines that have been adjusted throughout the course of the week. Tell me, do you believe the Jacksonville Jaguars will pop today now that Urban Meyer is out of the equation? Jaguars were a 3-point favorite. It's now up to 5.5. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to bet them up to 5.5. I do, though, think they will pop. I think they're going to be an inspired, loose, carefree football team, and they're certainly more talented on paper than the Texans.
Packers from -2 all the way up to -9. There's some big injury concerns in that game. Diana Russini's going to join us a little bit from now from the Big Crab Cake to give you everything you need to know. Vikings -4 up to 6. Laying 6 against the Bears. Do you think there's anything left in that Chicago gas tank?
Yeah, they're getting some key defensive players back. Roquan Smith, Akeem Hicks, a couple of those guys on the defensive line. So that could help them against a Minnesota team that always plays to its competition, whether the competition is the best in the NFL, the worst, or somewhere in between.
The Titans were a 2.5-point favorite to open the week at Pittsburgh. The Steelers are now the favorite in that game. File it away. One of us may have a best bet on that game coming up in just a little bit. But let's get to some picks, and we're going to begin with the Tuesday games. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Tuesday, due to the COVID outbreak that's taken place around the National Football League, we have not one, but 2 football games that will take place on Tuesday. And we begin with the Philadelphia Eagles, laying 6.5, total of 42 as they get to host the Washington football team. Mr. Fulghum, first bet of the show. It's your honor. You've been red hot on Daily Wager. You've been red hot here. Fire away. What do you got?
Your Philadelphia Eagles, Washington, kind of an ugly game. I don't think either of these teams. Maybe Philly can make a move for the postseason. I'm going to play the total. I'm going to stay away from the sides, and that's going to be a theme this week with all of the COVID issues, not just the NFL, the NBA as well. I'm going to play the total under 41.5. We know Philadelphia wants to run the football. They're right now maybe the best running team. They certainly have the highest rate of runs per play or per game. Jalen Hurts back. I expect them to try and use that advantage on the ground with a slew of Washington football linemen out. I think you're going to get a lot of Miles Sanders, a lot of Jalen Hurts, a lot of Gainwell, a lot of Jordan Howard, whoever is available in that backfield. You're going to run the football. That means the clock is always moving. That means plays volume is suppressed. That's why I'm taking the under 41.5.
I should bet Washington because I'm an Eagles fan and I want to come away with something, but I am going to play the Eagles here minus the points coming off the bye. I had a few drinks last night when I was doing some research for this game, and I still don't think this stat makes sense. But get this. Philadelphia is 6-7 this year. They're a game below 500. In those 6 wins, 5 of them have come by 11 or more points. Like when they win, they blow out the opposition. It's crazy that they're 6-7, but when they get the job done, they get it done in a big way, which is what I'm betting here. Washington ravaged by COVID outbreaks, all the issues that are taking place there, a lot of injuries on both sides of the ball as well. You got an offense that's been struggling, 24th in opponent yards per play on defense. I think the opportunity is there for Philly off the bye to make a statement. We've never seen Nick Sirianni off the bye, so keep your eyes focused. It could be some information we end up using next year. Let's keep it moving. From my Philadelphia Eagles to your Los Angeles Rams, LA laying 6.5, total of 45.5 in an NFC West showdown against the Seahawks. Are you backing your boys?
Yeah, again, I'm staying away from the side here. under a touchdown, especially now that we know Jalen Ramsey is coming off COVID protocol list. So is Odell Beckham Jr. They'll have Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel. I think Michel has earned kind of the bell cow use now as the primary running back, and Henderson is a guy who can be a change of pace. I think they win this game, but again, I'm just going to attack the total. I'm going to go over 45. I think Russell Wilson's starting to round into form a little bit. We saw him hooking up with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett successfully the last few weeks. I think each game that we play, further removed from the finger injury, which happened the first time the Rams and the Seahawks met. So I think you're going to see the best Russ you've seen since that injury. Ramsey will take away one of those guys, most likely Metcalf, but Lockett should be able to eat, and the Rams offense will have everyone except for Robert Woods, is what it looks like. So I like Matt Stafford and the Rams to put some points on the board. Over 45 is how I'm playing this one.
I hate to do it to you. I am going to take the points with Seattle here. 6.5 is a lot for a divisional matchup. But what a lot of this comes down to is what we saw last week. All right? Favorites went 11-3 against the spread. The bookmakers got crushed last week. Very rarely do the bookmakers lose, and even rarer is losing bad in back-to-back weeks. I think you're paying a tax on a lot of these favorites this week because the bookmakers know the betting public's coming right back to lay big numbers again, and as a result, I think people could be in for some trouble. So you're going to see me siding with a lot of dogs today in some of these situations. Seattle, the Rams are operating on a short week here. They just played Monday night. That's an edge for the Seahawks. And the Rams, 1-5 against the number in their last 6 as a favorite. They've been winning games, but they don't perform well in the favorite role. Give me the Seahawks plus 6.5. Now, if you've ever watched the incredible series It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you are aware of what a brownout is. It's not quite a blackout. You remember some of your evening, but it is known as a brownout. Credit Mac for coming up with the term. There is a brownout taking place Monday night as the Las Vegas Raiders get set to travel to Cleveland to take on the Browns. This line has just been wacky, absolutely wacky. Open 6.5, COVID outbreak in Cleveland. The Raiders went as high as a 3.5-point favorite. The game got moved. Baker Mayfield could be good to go. Now the Browns are back to being a favorite. Raiders owner Mark Davis feels that they lost a strategic advantage with the NFL postponing this game. We have to sort through it, and we need to bring in reinforcements. So speaking of all the moves, the COVID, everything you need to know, here's Jake Trotter on Monday night's matchup.
Yeah, Joe, the Cleveland Browns roster has been absolutely decimated by COVID-19 in recent days, but there is reason to believe now that they might be able to get some of those players back before Monday's game. One reason, the NFL and the NFLPA agreed to loosen restrictions on testing back in. In other words, players no longer have to produce 2 negative results 24 hours apart to rejoin the team. The other thing, the game got moved back. So now there's time for quarterback Baker Mayfield, wide receiver Jarvis Landry, guys like that. Gives them more time to test back in potentially before the 2 p.m. deadline on Monday. And obviously, if the Browns get some of those guys back, that could have a big effect on what kind of game we have on Monday.
Thank you, Jake. When it comes to beards, that's as classy as it gets. Fulghum, the Browns are laying 3. The total is 40.5. How do you see it?
Yeah, this game will make you want to brown out and then turn it into a blackout, trying to figure out this line movement, trying to figure out which players are going to be available for which teams. It's as ugly as can be. So there really isn't anything on the side or the total that I can give with any level of conviction. Here's what I think I know, though, Joe, is that regardless of who is available for the Cleveland offense, the offense should run through Nick Chubb. He is the best player on the field when he is lining up against the Las Vegas Raider defense. So if I am, whether Kevin Stefanski is able to coach or not, whoever is calling plays, it better be a full dose of Nick Chubb in the backfield. So I am waiting for the prop market to post. Haven't seen anything when I've looked in some of these places, but I have to imagine that barring injury, Nick Chubb sees 22, 23, 24, maybe even 30 carries, just like Jonathan Taylor did against the New England Patriots. If the Browns want to win this game, to me, the surest path is to put the ball in the belly of Chubb and let him run all over a Las Vegas defense that hasn't been good stopping the run all season. So staying away from side and total, as this game is as ugly as it gets. I know Chubb will get fed, and I'm going to try and find that market and exploit that.
You've been talking about Nick Chubb all week. I don't disagree with any of your assessment there. I think that's a fine play. Between the Raiders stinking and the Browns being a mess with the COVID outbreak, there's only one logical outcome for this game, and that is that this dumpster fire is going to overtime. So give me overtime at 10-1. I'm just going to play a lottery ticket here. Tough game to handicap, to be completely honest. When you're talking about overs, unders, you're trying to account for all of this. The Raiders have been brutal on the road, but they're healthier. The Browns need the game. They're at home. It got pushed back, but they're dealing with COVID. Overtime, 10-1. We're playing a lottery ticket here. Don't overthink this one. All right. From Monday Night Football to some potential double-digit winners. Let's find some winners in games that have spreads of double digits, and there are a bunch of them this week. Tread lightly, everybody. The free medium soda game of the week, the New York Football Giants hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas laying 11.5, total of 44. Are you on board with the free medium soda, and who are you betting in this game?
I mean, you have been banty and active today on Twitter with this free medium soda giveaway from the Mara family for the Giant fan base at MetLife. The content's been amazing this morning, Fortenbaugh. I don't drink much soda, so, but I don't like to pass up things that are free. So I would probably dabble. It'd be a Dr. Pepper. I'm going to play, again, with these massive spreads. When there are teams that are bad, like the Giants are, versus teams that are good, like the Cowboys are, I'm just going to expect the Cowboys to score 4 touchdowns. Just give me 1 per quarter. You can get it from their offense, which is basically fully healthy. I believe Tyron Smith is really the only subtraction they have from their offensive line from that starting 11. Tony Pollard may not see his normal workload, but you got CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Dalton Schultz, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, who has been a little hit or miss, but this offense should be able to score 3 or 4 touchdowns. And then you look on the other side, the New York Giants offense doesn't scare you at all, and Trevon Diggs and Micah Parsons could create points themselves for the defense by takeaways, strips, sack strips, fumbles, that type of thing. So I want to stay away from that big number. I expect there to be some points in this game, mostly from the Dallas side. So I'm going to play the Cowboys over 3.5 team touchdowns and hopefully celebrate with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, see, for those, that's beautiful. Beautifully done like usual from you. I expect nothing less. For those who don't know what we're talking about, at the Giants game today, all season ticket holders for Fan Appreciation Day are getting a free medium soda, and the fan base is irate about this. Everyone saying the same thing. We don't want a soda. We want a new head coach, a new GM. We want to win. Yes, everyone wants to win, but it's easier to give you a free medium soda, which is why you're getting a free medium soda. I wish to God I was in the meeting when they came up with this idea. It's wonderful. Back to the bets. Dallas Cowboys team total over 27.5 points. I think they're going to have some pep in their step today, caffeine or not. They're going to jump all over the Giants. The Giants, is Joe Judge going to be back? Is David Gettleman going to be back? It doesn't look like it. This team's ready to pack it in on the season. They've got injuries everywhere. Dallas is number 2 in the NFL in scoring at 29 points per game. They're putting up big numbers, and everyone keeps saying, well, something's wrong. They're not playing that well. But they're still putting up big numbers, and I think they hang a big one on the Giants today. They come in, they handle their business. Mike Glennon's quarterbacking for the Giants, probably a pick 6 in there somewhere, or at least a couple key turnovers that will set Dallas up with a short field. Cowboys over 27.5. Now, from the Cowboys to another one of those legacy teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers are laying 1, total of 43.5 against the Tennessee Titans. How do you see this showdown?
I see it being a low-scoring game. I'm just going to play the total under 42.5. I think this total going under will be driven by Tennessee's struggles to put points on the board against a Pittsburgh defense at home. We'll have that advantage. Tennessee did get that 20-0 shutout victory over Jacksonville that showed Urban Meyer the door, but they averaged less than 4 yards per play. And Jacksonville's defense, it's actually decent. It's not the worst in the NFL. The Steelers' defense is not as good as we would expect given their legacy and what they usually build their team on, but it's good enough, I think, to hold a Tennessee team in check that is still missing A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, and just got Julio Jones back, who made a minimal difference in that matchup against Jacksonville. So we know Pittsburgh with Ben Roethlisberger can struggle to score. I think it's going to be a good playoff caliber football game. I just think it's going to be a lower scoring one, Joe.
I like where you're at, and I'm going to parrot a lot of the bullet points you just had because it's important for my pick, which is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers minus the point. There's a reason they opened as a dog and moved all the way to the favorite role. That was a bad price. Do not get caught up in Tennessee's win last week. It's a nice win, 20-0, but Tyler hit the key point. The Titans averaged just 3.8 yards per play in that game. They are really missing Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown. The offense has been abysmal. And that game last week, Tennessee was off the bye and playing at home. They're not off the bye this week, and they're not playing at home. They're going to Pittsburgh, who's had 10 days to get ready for this game. Mike Tomlin's been all over the Steelers. They're coming in focused for this game. One of my favorite bets of the week. Give me Pittsburgh minus the point. I also agree with Tyler. It's going to be a tough day for the Titans to put some points on the board. I think the under is a solid play as well. So that brings us to Big Dog, Little Dog, the segment that is built for Tyler Fulghum. The man picks underdogs better than anyone in the business. Congratulations on the dog of the day. Utah State plus 7.5 over Oregon State. What a call in the bowl game, the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. So let's see what you got in store for us here. We're doing something a little bit different this week. Normally, a big dog is a dog of 3.5 or more points. A little dog is a dog of 3 or fewer. Well, we have so few small spreads and so many big ones, we're adjusting the criteria. Big dogs are dogs of 7.5 or more. Little dogs are dogs of 7 or fewer. So we're going to start with your big dog. Someone catching 7.5 or more points. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, there's not a lot to like as far as dogs on today's slate. I will say this. There's a team catching 11.5 that I think can pull off an upset. That's the New Orleans Saints against Tom Brady and the Bucs. Now, here's what is going to happen. Brady's going to have to play probably the worst game of his season so far. But we have seen that Saints defense give Tom Brady trouble since he's become the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback. So whatever game plans that worked last season, including the playoff win for the Bucs, where again, Brady was just pedestrian. It was Drew Brees who was just worse on the other side. If they can conjure that magic again against Brady and this offense, which I think is going to be even more difficult than it was last year with the groove that Brady and this team are in, and Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill run for like 150 yards each, which again, not easy against Tampa Bay, I can see the Saints pulling off an outright upset, but not a lot to like as far as dogs in today's NFL slate. I've just seen the Saints beat the Bucs recently, so I'll go with that.
Divisional matchup, lots of points. Team in the underdog role loves to run. I agree with you on that. I'd also play the under 45.5 in that game. My big dog this week is going to be the Atlanta Falcons plus 8.5. As soon as the lines came out for this week, knowing the favorites crushed last week, I circled this game and said to myself, San Francisco is just ripe for a big egg. If you watch this team, the consistency is severely lacking. They should have blown it last week against Cincinnati. They got lucky at the end. They made the necessary plays, but they're not a buttoned-up outfit. And the week before that, they got shellacked by Seattle, who hadn't beaten anyone in like a month. So San Francisco is going to lay a huge number here with a head coach in Kyle Shanahan, who's absolutely one of the worst in the business when it comes to covering point spreads as a favorite. He is 4-15-1 against the spread as a home favorite in his last 20 games. That's terrible. This game stinks of pros versus Joes. I think you're going to see the public line up on the Niners. The Sharps are going to line up on the Falcons. It's already come down a little bit. Big dog for me, Atlanta plus 8.5. What do you got for your little dog this week? A dog of 7 or fewer points.
Yeah, the Bengals catching 3 in Denver against the Broncos. I think this is a bounce-back spot for the Bengals. Tough loss at home against the 49ers. We just saw the Broncos look great, crushing the Detroit Lions at home. An emotionally charged game celebrating the life of Demaryius Thomas, as well, a fixture in that community and for that franchise. I do think, though, the better 7-6 AFC team is actually the Bengals. As much as I love what Teddy ATS has done in his career against the number, I do think the Bengals, if they get a good game from Burrow, which will not be easy against Vic Fangio's defense, do not get it twisted, but you got Mixon, you got the wide receivers. If the defense comes to play and can make Teddy Bridgewater look average, both the running backs, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, a little nicked up, I think the Bengals can bounce back and get a win as a 3-point dog in Denver.
All right, so I like that pick. It's moved so far to 3 that the value is now on Cincinnati. I'm down here on the Strip this weekend. I was playing some slots on Friday night. Woman sat down next to me. She's from Minnesota. She wouldn't leave me alone. And I'm not a very social person. I like to be left alone. This woman would not stop talking to me. She's from Minnesota. I'll take the Bears plus 6 on Monday Night Football. This is a huge number. Huge number when you consider the fact that Minnesota is 2-5 on the road this season, and they're 29th in the NFL in points allowed on the road at about 30 per game. The Bears are a mess, I get it, but it's a divisional matchup. You're laying 6 with Kirk Cousins in primetime. I think the guy's 1-9 straight up, 1-9 against the spread in his career on Monday night. Now, maybe the Bears completely pack it in, but Justin Fields in the offense looked pretty good last week against the Packers. I will take that many points. I don't think anyone wants anything to do with the Bears in this game. Gimme the 6. Happy to get involved. Now, from Monday Night Football at Soldier Field to the big crab cake in Baltimore, where a massive showdown takes place this afternoon between the Baltimore Ravens and the Green Bay Packers, we go to M&T Bank Stadium and welcome in the always incredible Diana Russini. Diana, thank you so much for your time. Let's start with the status of Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, who's battling an ankle injury. What can you tell us on that front?
Yeah, hi guys. Every hour is important to this Ravens organization because it's another hour to give Lamar Jackson time to maybe deal with that ankle injury. They have yet to rule him out because there is some hope. They're leaving that door open. I've been texting with players and coaches, though, pretty much throughout the morning here, and the sense I'm getting is it's going to be a long shot if Jackson is able to actually go. So the starting quarterback most likely will be Tyler Huntley, who took first-team reps all week with this Ravens offense. And it's his mobility, much like Lamar Jackson, that makes him a valuable quarterback that has given this team a lot of confidence that he can run this offense because he's able to move with his legs so well. And, oh, by the way, his legs that are very healthy at this point.
Diana, we have not just Lamar Jackson, an MVP quarterback, dealing with injury. On the other side, Aaron Rodgers has that pesky little fractured toe. He, of course, the MVP, reigning in the NFL. And unlike Lamar, he's actually been playing with this injury and has played really good football. I wonder, though, if the Packers and Matt LaFleur have had to change anything in terms of scheme, or is Rodgers, despite the injury, able to use the entire playbook?
Yeah, so the sense I'm getting from talking to Green Bay over the last few weeks, actually, because I've been covering the Packers a lot since he initially had that pinky toe fracture, and I'm hoping you're showing nothing but B-roll of that foot right now as I'm talking about it, is that he's able to manage the pain, play through it, weather always a big factor. Weather here, not too bad. It's a little windy. It's not awfully chilly here. It's always a lot colder in Lambeau. But in terms of changing what they're doing, that is not the sense I'm getting. Look, we know that their offensive line is banged up, just like we're seeing with this Ravens team as well today. Both offensive lines are kind of a disaster. But Aaron Rodgers gets the ball out faster than any other quarterback, and none of that has changed since he's hurt his foot. A mobile quarterback on the Ravens side is important because that's their offense. But for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, him being a pocket passer, having a foot injury isn't as dramatic. So nothing's changing with this offense for Green Bay.
If you were to do a Mount Rushmore of all the talented people to come out of the great state of New Jersey, Diana Russini would be right up there next to Bruce Springsteen. Thank you, Diana. Wonderful stuff as always.
Did I beat Snooki?
Yes. By all means, yes. Potty time.
I used to
all
look
right,
like
Diana.
I don't anymore, though. Okay.
That's a Rushmore. Springsteen, Russini, Snooki. We'll leave that for another day.
Hey,
all right.
That sounds like a great night. We'll go have dinner, go have drinks with that trio or quartet of famous New Jerseyans. I think it'd be quite a night out running the streets, Joe.
It's a hell of a state, New Jersey. All right, so Baltimore and Green Bay. Green Bay is now laying 9, total of 45. A lot of this is teaser protection, okay? Green Bay was a 7-point favorite. Everybody wants to get involved in the Green Bay teasers, so they bump it to 9 so that when you tease it down, it goes from 9 to 3, and it lands you right on the key number. Be aware of what the books are doing here. So what are you doing, Fulghum? Laying 9, total of 45. How are you going to play it?
I mean, we've been talking about this game all week, dating back to Tuesday on Daily Wager, and the Packers were favored by only 5.5 at that time. So I hope that you took our urging and bought into the Packers before this line movement here. Whether Lamar Jackson was playing or not, I think the Packers had the best team on the field in this matchup. 11-2 ATS this season, best mark in the NFL. 9 is big. I'm far less interested at that price, at that number. I do think they will win this game by at least a score. I'm probably going to pass now. If you haven't made the wager yet, you don't need to dive in right now. Maybe look at the prop market. We know Davante Adams has an awesome matchup with both Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters out. Who is going to check? Who is going to guard the best wide receiver in the NFL? And the reigning league MVP, Aaron Rodgers, throwing to him. So this is a game where, with this movement, going through those key numbers of 6 and 7, finding that teaser protection, I think the best way is to pass on side and total, look at the player prop market.
I would say you should rephrase that statement or that question. Who's going to guard Davante Adams? It's more like who's going to trail Davante Adams, because they're just going to be running behind him all day as he burns him down the field. I'm going to play the Green Bay team total. It was 24 when I gave this out on Daily Wager a couple hours ago. Now it's 27.5. As long as it's short of 28, I'm in. Green Bay's offense has a really high floor. All right, they've scored 24 or more points in 10 of 13 games this year. They're a high-powered unit, and in a matchup against Baltimore with a healthy Lamar Jackson, I'd be concerned because the Ravens love to run the ball. They move at a slow pace. They can really speed up the game. Well, there's no Lamar Jackson today, and if the offense stumbles, it's just going to keep putting the ball back in Aaron Rodgers' hands against the secondary that Tyler mentioned is very depleted. No Jimmy Smith, no Marlon Humphrey. Rodgers should shred these guys today. Russini told you flat out the weather's not a concern. Packers over 27.5 points against the Ravens. That brings us to Take It to the Bank. Best bets of the weekend. Let's check out how we did last week. A little bit of everything. A little buffet here. Fulghum cannot be stopped. He's on an unbelievable heater now. The guy's like Hansel, so hot right now. He nails it on the Green Bay over touchdowns. I pushed on the 49. I needed a miracle for that to happen. And Aaron swung and missed on Buffalo Tampa Bay's under, but that's all right. She's been handicapping like a stud since she joined us on Daily Wager. She's sick today. We wish her the best. She'll be back on TV soon. Favorite bet of the day, Tyler, what is it?
Similar bet that took it to the bank last week. I'm just going to identify a different matchup, a different offense. Over 3.5 total touchdowns for the Arizona Cardinals in Detroit. The Cardinals lost that game on Monday night to the Rams, but they were moving the ball up and down the field. 450 yards of offense, some points and touchdowns were left on the field by Kyler Murray, especially with that red zone interception by Ernest Jones. So now they go into a domed environment. I know DeAndre Hopkins is out, but there's still A.J. Green, Rondale Moore, Zach Ertz, Christian Kirk. Chase Edmonds is off the IR to form that thunder and lightning tandem with James Conner in the backfield. Just a great matchup against a Detroit team that is completely overmatched. Jared Goff might offer a touchdown on a pick six or a fumble as well. So over 3.5 team TDs for Arizona.
I like it. You've been crushing these props since you really started focusing on them the last few weeks. I like it. I'm going to go back to a game we talked about earlier. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers -1 against Tennessee. Favorite bet of the day. All over this one. Tennessee, again, you got to go through the box scores of all these games, pro and college, basketball as well, to understand the true story of the game, not just the final score. And last week, 20-0 looks like Tennessee blew out Jacksonville. That was more Jacksonville falling on its face than Tennessee getting after them. They played very well defensively, but the offense is a mess. Pittsburgh's got 10 days to get ready for this game. They're at home. They need it. Steelers get it done. Best bet of the week. Bringing back a segment we used to do in the middle of the weeks. Before I let you go, one final bet from us to you as a little parting gift on the way out the door. You can choose from anything, Tyler. What's it going to be?
So I was backing the Cleveland Cavaliers. Why wouldn't I? Best ATS record in the association. They were actually an underdog on the road against the Hawks. Then this morning we learned Trae Young goes into the protocols. That makes the matchup even juicier. Then about an hour after that, we learned that pretty much the entire Cleveland Cavaliers have suffered an outbreak and are going under the protocols. And just mere moments ago, I heard in my ear that the game has henceforth been postponed. So no Cavs-Hawks to make my take it to the bank. I'll offer this NBA play up instead. The Memphis Grizzlies laying 4.5 at home against the Portland Trailblazers. The Grizzlies have won 10 of 11 since Ja Morant has gone down, and they've done it with dominant defense. I think you can also play Portland's team total under, because in those 11 games, the most points Memphis has allowed is 106, Joe. I like the Grizzlies against the Blazers tonight.
All right, go get them. I'm going to play something on December 24th, Christmas Eve. It's the Hawaii Bowl, laying 8.5 with Memphis over Hawaii. I've been talking about this game for weeks, telling everyone to get it inside of 7. Now it's at 8.5. I'd still play it. Hawaii is in shambles right now. The team does not like head coach Todd Graham. They wanted him fired. He hasn't been fired. I don't think they want to play in this game. Motivation is huge for bowl games. Memphis is a top 20 passing attack. They're going to score. Hawaii's star quarterback and leading rusher both transferred out. They entered the transfer portal at the end of the season. They disliked the head coach that much. Memphis on Christmas Eve over Hawaii. We like to have fun on the show, but on a more serious note, thousands have been affected by southern and Midwest tornadoes recently. If you would like to help, please visit redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover from this disaster. This is the time of year to be able to step up if you can and give anything to those who have lost so much. All right. Here we go. Another big NFL Sunday. Free medium sodas to all season ticket holders in New York. Stop complaining, people. It's a wonderful gift on behalf of owner John Mara. He's Tyler Fulghum. He's red hot. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. I'm here because they told me to be. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you on Monday.